Hey everybody, welcome back to another EDH video. Today's video is day 13 of 25 days of deck building, and we are on Rakdos. So the Rakdos deck that I've decided to build is the Infamous Cruelclaw. It's really popular from this year, honestly. It's one generic in Rakdos, legendary creature, Weasel Mercenary, Menace. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast that card by discarding a card rather than paying its mana cost. So we have a bunch of cards that care about either discarding. Well, we have some cards that care about discarding. Not a bunch, but we have a couple. And then we have some madness cards. There's not a bunch. There's like 2 or 3 in here. But basically, we're going to be able to discard stuff and then like put like big old Eldrazi into play, which is like what everybody does with this deck. So it's not very unique, to be honest. It's very not unique. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And also, I have a Blue Sky now and a Discord server. So go ahead and go down there and join those. Anyways, let's get right into what's actually in the deck. Alrighty, so we got 21 creatures, 13 sorceries, 12 instants, 18 artifacts, 5 enchantments, and 30 lands. 30 lands is a little low. We're coming in at $440. Yeah, 30 lands is a little low, but I feel like we don't really need them. We're Commander's 3 costs, and we're going to be casting, just discarding stuff to cast our stuff. So first up, we got Ramp. Pretty stereotypical. Talisman of Indulgence, 2 generic, adds a colorless. You can tap it, add a black or red, and it deals 1 damage to you. Very, so we got Soul Ring, 1 generic, taps for a 2 colorless artifact. Everybody puts this in their decks. Why not? Might as well just throw it in here. We don't really need it, but next we have Rakdos Signet, 2 generic, tap 1, tap it, and add Rakdos. It's the Signet. Put it in there just to fix our mana. We have Prosper Tomebound, 2 generic, and a Rakdos, a legendary creature, Tiefling Warlock. At the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of your library until the end of your turn. You may play that card, and then whenever you play a card from exile, you create a treasure. We have Mindstone, 2 generic, add a colorless, tap 1, tap it, sacrifice it, draw a card. Leadmer, 2 generic, tap it for a black. It's a 1/1 mirror. Just a little bit of ramp. Then we have Felwar Stone, 2 generic, add 1 mana of any color that a land and opponent controls could produce. So somebody's going to be playing red or black usually. We have Dark Ritual to maybe get into something that helps us draw cards or something like that. Might as well put it in here. We have Curse Mirror, 2 generic and red, add a red. At the enters the battlefield, you may have it become a copy of any creature on the battlefield until end of turn, except it has haste. For one of our big things, we can make a copy of it pretty much. Brassett Bounty, 6 generic and a red. Each land you control, for each land you control, create a treasure. Chromatic Warrior, 7 generic. You may spend mana as though it were any color, and it taps for 5 colorless. So you can tap 5, draw a card for each color among permanents you control. Arcane Signet, 2 generic. Add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity, so red or black. Then we have Removal. Red and black's pretty good at this, so we have some pretty good ones in here. So first up, we have Bedevil. It's a black, red. Instant, destroy target artifact, creature, or planeswalker. I don't ever see the planeswalker coming up that much. I don't know if you want to destroy somebody's planeswalker, but there's a lot of good creatures out there, a lot of good artifacts out there. You can even destroy someone's Soaring if you wanted to. We have Big Game Hunter, 1 generic, 2 black. Whenever it enters the battlefield, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. It can't be regenerated. But it also has Madness. Whenever we discard it, we can pay 1 for its Madness cost. So whenever we discard something with our commander, we can Madness. And then we have Call Forth the Tempest, 5 generic, 3 red. Cascade. Call the Forth deals damage equal to each creature your opponent's control equal to the total mana value of other spells you cast this turn. So you Cascade, which happens before this spell resolves. Cast Warp, 2 generic and a red. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library and then reveals the top card of the library. If it's a permanent card, then they put it into the battlefield. I don't know, I was going to say into play, but it says onto the battlefield. So we have Dark Withering, 4 generic, 2 black. Destroy target non-black creature, but it also has Madness for 1 black. So whenever we discard it from our commander, we can pay 1 black and destroy target non-black creature. Pretty easy way to just like tap a black and then get a big old Eldrazi, but also destroy something. We have Feed the Swarm, 1 generic and black. Destroy target creature or enchantment and opponent controls. You lose life equal to the permanent's mana value. So a little bit of enchantment removal here. Mainly, we're probably going to be going for player removal if somebody has something we don't like. We have Fell the Profane, 2 generic, 2 black. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. It's the MDFC, so it flips on the back. I think there's actually 32 lands in here. I might have 2 MDFCs in here. But this is a flip land. You can play it on the land if you want to. Then we have Engarrick's Wake, 7 generic, 2 black. Destroy a creature you don't control and all planeswalkers you don't control. Mainly, we're going to be wanting to flip this off our commander. because it's a big thing and we're probably never going to be able to cast. But if we do, it'd be cool. They have Plague Wind, 7 generic, 2 black. Destroy creatures they don't control, they can't be regenerated. Again, we're going to be wanting to cast this off your commander. Nobody's going to be paying 9 black for this. But I guess if we get up there, we can. If it's in our hand. We can also just discard it. Portals Phyrexia 9 generic. Whenever it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices 3 creatures. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, put target creature from a graveyard onto the battlefield under control. It's a Phyrexian and it's addition to other types. So we can make our opponents sacrifice stuff, and then we can steal their stuff pretty much. We have Rakdos Charm. It's a Rakdos. Exile target player's graveyard. Destroy target artifact. Each controller creates each creature deals 1 damage to its controller. We're not gonna have a lot of creatures, but we can just choose target player that has a bunch of tokens and kill them. And then Terminal Agony, 2 generic, and a Rakdos. Destroy target creature, but also has Madness for Rakdos. So whenever we discard it with our commander, we can destroy target creature. It's just a little bit of extra value. If we have the mana up, we can just tap those and destroy that. We have Terminate, black and red. Destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. The regeneration's probably never going to come up. It might with a Zuri or somebody that plays a Zuri out there. I don't know. I've never played against a Zuri deck, but it might come up. But destroy target creature, pretty good. Toxic Deluge, 2 generic and a black. Has an additional cost to cast this spell. Pay X life. All creatures get -X until end turn. It's probably the best board wipe in the format, so had to throw it in here. Throw it in all the black decks, just because why not? We have Withering Torment, 2 generic and a black. Destroy target creature or enchantment. You lose 2 life. A little bit better than the other one. You only lose 2 life, so you can destroy like an Omniscience and still only lose 2 life. With the other one, you lose 9 if you destroy an Omniscience or whatever. So next up, we got Unblockable. Our commander is combat damage trigger, so I wanted some unblockable stuff in here. So first up, we got Whisper Silk Cloak, 3 generic, equipped creature can't be blocked and has Shroud, and equipped 2. It's a 3 mana artifact equipment, of course. But the Shroud kind of sucks if we want to target our commander, but there's not a whole lot that we want to target with except for the equipments. We have Vorak Battlehorns, 2 generic, has Trample, can't be blocked by more than 1 creature, equip 1. So it already has a menace, so this basically makes it unblockable because it can only be blocked by 1 creature, but it also has menace. So we have Trailblazer Boots, 2 generic, equipped creature has non-basic land walk. It's an equip 2, so there's a lot of non-basics out there, so this is definitely probably going to get through. With our equipped to our commander, it has also menace, so we have Brotherhood Regalia, 2 generic. Equipped creature has Ward 2, is an assassin in addition to its other types, can't be blocked. It has equipped legendary creature 1, and also equipped 3, but we're probably just going to be paying the 1 a lot to equip to our commander. We have Nurak Halversail, 1 generic artifact equipment. Equipped creature has flying, equipped 2. So our commander already has menace, so it's going to have flying menace, which is pretty hard to block if you ask me. We got Big Stuff Cheap. This is like you guys ever been to Ollie's? It's like good stuff cheap. Anyways, Virtue of Persistence, 5 generic, 2 black. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So we're just going to be putting that on the battlefield. We're going to discard a lot of stuff, so that's why it's in here. Vagabond Terror Reader, 6 generic, 3 black, flying lifelink, ward, sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. If a card you didn't control would be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile instead. During your turn, you may play cards exile with Vagaboth. If you cast a spell from there, you use your life instead. Ulamog the Defiler, 10 generic. Whenever you cast a spell, target opponent exiles half their library. Ward, sacrifice 2 permanents. Whenever it enters the battlefield with a number of ++ encounters on it equal to the greatest amount of value among cards in exile. Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, 10 generic. Whenever you cast a spell, exile 2 target permanents. Indestructible. Whenever it attacks, defending player exiles the top 20 cards of the library. It's a 10/10 Eldrazi. Big old Eldrazi's we're going to be putting into play. That's why it's in here. We have Shoulder Whispering 1, 5 generic, 2 black, Swamp Walk. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature. So you're going to be returning stuff that you discarded pretty much. Also, she's a Praetor, so it's probably pretty salty. Then we have Sire of 7 Deaths, 7 generic, creature Eldrazi, first strike, vigilance, menace, trample, reach, lifelink, ward, pay 7. It's a 7/7. There's just a bunch of 7s on this card. I really like this card. And it's pretty expensive now, but still good. Shard of Nightbringer, 5 generic, 3 black. Creature, I don't know what the heck that is. Flying, whenever Shard of the Nightbringer enters the battlefield, if you cast it, target opponent loses half their life rounded up. You gain life equal to the way life lost this way. Rise of Eldrazi, 9 and 3 colorless. This spell can't be countered. Destroy type permanent. Target player draws 4 cards. Take an extra turn off this one. Exile Rise of Eldrazi. We're just going to be playing this off our commander. I think we can get it as early as turn 3 if we get lucky and cast it off the top. Portal to Phyrexia. We already went over this one earlier. It's just allowing us to play our opponent's stuff and also our stuff. What we just it's from a graveyard, so we can always put our own stuff into play too. We have Port Razor, 3 generic, 2 red. When it deals combat damage to a player, untap each creature you control after this combat phase. There's an additional combat phase. It can't attack a player it has already attacked this turn. I don't know if we'll probably be wanting to put this in with our commander as well. Gods like the Great Distortion, 8 generic, 2 colorless. Whenever you cast a spell, if you have fewer than 7 cards in your hand, draw cards equal to the difference. Menace, draw a card free, or discard a card with mana value X, counter target spell with mana value X. It's a 12/12. Cosmic Butcher of Truth, 10 generic. Whenever you cast a spell, draw 4 cards. Annihilator 4. Whenever it's put into your graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles their graveyard into their library. That way we can get our big stuff back into our library and also just have more stuff to discard. We have It That Betrays, 12 generic. Annihilator 2. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent, put that card onto the battlefield under your control. Kind of like that Shouldered effect, but it's an 11/11 Eldrazi. Also lets them makes them sacrifice stuff. Excalibur, Sword of Eden, 12 generic. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total mana value of historic spells you control. Equip creature is +10/+0 and has vigilance. Equip legendary creature 2. Put it on our commander. We're in business. Emrakul, the World New, 12 generic. Whenever you cast a spell, gain control of all creatures target player controls. Flying, protection from spells from permanents that were cast this turn. When Emrakul leaves the battlefield, sacrifice all creatures you control. Madness, pay 6. Colorless. Eldrazi Conscription, 8 generic. Enchanted creature gets +10/+10 and has Trample and Annihilator. If we put this on our commander, this is going to be crazy. We're just going to be swinging with the unblockable Eldrazi Conscription, 10/10 Annihilator. We have Combustible Gear Hulk, 4 generic, 2 red. First strike, whenever it enters the battlefield, target opponent may have you draw 3 cards. If that player doesn't, you mill 3 cards, then it deals damage to that player equal to the total mana value of those cards. I think we just straight up KO somebody if they don't let us draw. Baneful Omen, 4 generic, 3 black. At the beginning of your end step, you may reveal the top card of your library. If you do, each opponent loses life equal to the cards compared to mana cost. We put this into our onto play with our commander, and then we just reveal a big old Kozilek or something. Arcane of Cruelty, 6 generic, 2 black. Flying, whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, target opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker, discards a card and loses 3 life. You draw a card and gain 3 life. It's a 6/6 for 8. We can just put it into play with our commander again. Karma's Memorial, 7 generic. Creature control of flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, and protection from black and red. Has protection from our own colors, but those are pretty good colors to have protection from. Black is a lot of target removal. Red is a lot of damage stuff. And we have pretty cool stuff. We got Magic Sorcery, 3 generic and a red. This spell, the first spell you cast from exile each turn has Cascade. It is from exile, your commander, I believe. So you cascade off of all those, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, pretty cruel. I don't know. I'm just trying to make a little play on words here. That's 4/3 Orc Shaman. Doesn't really care about any of that. Squeed Goblin Nabob, 2 generic and a red. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return Squeed Nabob from your graveyard to your hand. This is just another card we can just discard over and over again each turn, because it does come back each upkeep. I think it's really cool. Rising of the Day, 2 generic and a red. Creature you control have haste. Legendary creature you control have +1/+0. Gives our commander haste. It does fall in the same mana category as our commander, which kind of sucks, but it will give our commander haste if we, it dies and we have to replay it. Overpowering attack, 3 generic and a red, 4 running, so whenever, you can only cast it for 3 if an assassin or commander has dealt damage. Then untap all creature control that attack this turn. If it's your main phase, there's an additional combat phase after this phase. And then Lightning Greaves, 2 generic. Equip creature has haste and shroud. Equip 0. It's an artifact equipment. The shroud kind of sucks sometimes, but it's okay. It has haste. Equip 0. It's also a menace, so it's still kind of unblockable, but it's fine. Bone Miser, 4 generic and a red. Whenever you discard a creature card, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Whenever you discard a land card, add black black. Whenever you discard a non-creature, non-land, draw a card. We're going to be getting a lot of value out of this. If we discard a land, we're adding mana. We have Ancient Stellar Spawn, 1 generic, 2 black. Each spell you cast, we don't care about that cost reduction. We care about whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast it was less than its mana value, target opponent loses life equal to the difference. If we cast a Kozilek and they just lose 12, Aggravated Assault, 2 generic and a red. 3 red red, untap all creature you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. Play this ability only anytime you could play a sorcery. So we want extra combats to get more big stuff off our library. Archfiend of Ifnir, 3 generic, 2 black. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, put a +1 counter on, or a -1 counter on each creature your opponents control. I feel like this can just board wipe or just kill little stuff that our opponents have. I feel like this is just some accumulated value. We have draw. This is the basic draw package here, just to get, more discard fodder. Vizcore, 3 generic and a red. As an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card, draw 2 cards, create 2 treasure tokens. The treasures, we can use them. Then we have demand answers, 1 generic and a black, or a red. As an initial cost to cast a spell, sacrifice an artifact or discard a card, and we can draw 2 cards. Faithless Looting, 1 red, draw a card and discard 2 cards. Flashback for red and 2, so you can do that again. We all know this card. Read the Bones, 2 generic and a black. Scry 2, then draw 2 cards. You lose 2 life. A little bit of extra scry in there, but helps you draw some cards. Sign of Blood, black black. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. You can target somebody and kill them if you want. They're at 2, but mainly you're going to be choosing yourself. Throw possibilities, 1 generic and a red. As an initial cost to cast this spell, discard a card, draw 2 cards. Discard, draw 2 cards. Why not? Threw it in here. We need some draw. Next up, we have lands. Pretty stereotypical lands in here. 8 swamps, as per usual. I try to keep them even. 8 mountains. Then we have Black Cleave Cliffs. It is a battlefield tap unless you control 2 or fewer lands, fewer other lands. Taps are colors. Blazemire Verge. Taps are black, but you can add red if you control a swamp or a mountain. Taps for both our colors there. Lightstep Pathway, you can put it on the red side or the black side, and it'll tap for either or, depending on the side you put it on. Then we have Bajuka Bog, enters tapped, but it enters exile target player's graveyard. Add a black. Pretty good staple in black, just against those graveyard decks. Command Tower will tap for a red or a black. Commander's color entity, but you know the drill. It taps for commander's colors. It is about Dragon Skull Summit enters the battlefield tap unless you control a swamp or a mountain. Taps for colors again. I like those lands. I don't know why. Exotic Orchard taps for a land mana a land an opponent controls could produce. So whatever. Fell the Mire enters the battlefield tapped unless you pay 3 life. Taps for black. It's the backside of a removal spell. Foreboding Ruins enters the battlefield tapped unless you reveal a swamp or a mountain, and it taps for a red or a black. Then we have Luxury Suite enters the battlefield tapped unless you have 2 or more opponents. Taps for a red or a black. Really good cards. I like those ones. Rogue's Passage, you could tap 4 and target creature can be blocked this turn and tap it as well, and then you could tap it and make it colorless. Smoldering March enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. It's a swamp mountain, so it's fetchable, but we don't really have any fetches in here, so good luck. Sulphur Springs, you can tap it for colorless. You can tap it also and make a black or a red. It deals 1 damage to you. Then we have Tainted Pink, taps for a colorless. It also taps for a black or a red. Activate only if you control a swamp. We do have a lot of extra colorless production here just to get our colorless spells if we want. Witch's Cottage enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other swamps. Enters the battlefield untapped. You may put target card on top of your library. Yeah, I feel like this is a pretty fun deck. I feel like everybody's built this deck before this year because it's very popular. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy the series. Anyways, peace out.